Man, Hollywood writer couldn't write this script. Hi, everybody. How you doing? On my last video, I did a review on the Xbox podcast, which Rod Ferguson was part of. In that video, I covered what was said, the questions that were asked, but basically the main thing that came out of that Xbox podcast was Rod Ferguson announced that on February 13th, the gauntlets, the leaderboards, would be dropped in season 3. Now, in my last video covering that topic and that video and what Rod said, I actually said in the video that I was actually surprised and wrong, because I predicted they were going to launch the gauntlet in the middle to the latter half of season 3. And why did I feel this way? Because they were using it to entice us to continue to play season 3 and prolong the inevitable of everyone leaving and having that carrot in front of us. So they wanted to delay as much, because a lot of people are looking forward to the leaderboards. Personally, I'm not, but I know to a lot of players in the player base, they want and are excited about it. So I said, wow, this is great, and I'm wrong. And well, my video wasn't even published for like an hour, and we got a update from Rod Ferguson. I guess it got back to him that everyone was talking about, wow, February 13th, leaderboards is coming. And he went on X and made this tweet, and you can see it behind me. Great seeing the excitement about the gauntlet and leaderboards. We're still on track for season 3, but decided to take a bit more time to polish a few things up. So it won't be launching on February 13th, as I mentioned on a recent podcast. We'll share more details and the new date soon. I'm telling you, man, a Hollywood horror movie writer couldn't write this kind of script. Okay, anyway, let's read some more posts. Anyway, Adam Fletcher, Pez Radar, we love him. We all know him. Well, you should know him if you play Diablo games. He chimes in and says, we will have a new date soon and tons more info with this update. The recording for this podcast occurred before our date adjustments. Now, I had already done my research and knew that the Xbox podcast was published on January 24th, a day after season 3 was launched. Now, I know like videos are never or rarely published on the same day they're made. There's editing, there's checking, there's a lot of production that goes behind the scenes. And I can imagine an Xbox podcast, there's a lot of editing and stuff like that. However, you have to know, as like, even me, a small little YouTube creator, content creator, a YouTube partner, by the way, and thank you for all my subs and my community. But even I know, if you're putting out information, I would imagine you would ask the person that's creating the video, by the way, when is this dropping? Like, when are you going to publish this? Oh, we're going to publish it in a month. We're going to publish it on this date, So I'm a little bit skeptical about the responses that I've seen on Twitter. And actually, I responded to Adam. Well, I posted on his post, and I said the following. At Pez Radar, the Xbox podcast was published on January 24th, one day after season 3 launched. Therefore, are you stating the gauntlet date moved after season 3 launched? Can you share with us why? I'm sure many are curious to know why it would change after the season was already underway. Thank you. Now, I'm using this logic because a couple of reasons why. Number one, if you knew that this was going to be launched on February 13th and then the season launched and you changed the date, then why did you change the date? Something happened? Like, what's going on? And Adam Pezradar responded, this was recorded before the date it was published, meaning Rod said this prior to season 3 launching. Now, that might be true, and it probably is. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. You're stating something like that, and okay, the player base is itching to know when the Gauntlet leaderboards are actually gonna be dropped, right? When is it gonna come? Because prior to season 3 launching, we didn't know what was gonna happen at all. Anyway, I do want to highlight one more thing, and please stick around at the end. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this and what this means for Diablo 4 moving forward, as far as I'm concerned. But I do want to cover one more thing, and that's Rob 2028. This is a content creator / streamer that has been very loyal to Diablo 4. He is grinding the crap out of the game, streaming the game, has not veered off Diablo 4 at all. At all. He is, to my knowledge, the only one that has not played, not even for a single minute, anything other than Diablo 4. Out of all the top content creators, Rob 2028 is the one, at least that I've seen, has streamed Diablo 4 since its release nonstop. And this is his response to Rod's post. This sucks. I was already disappointed seeing this feature delayed and not coming out with the season 3 launch. We all were. It killed so much hype as it was marketed as the big thing coming in season 3 at BlizzCon. Absolutely right, Rob. This is why I'm so upset at the fact that we're even having this discussion. Leaderboards should have dropped on January 23rd when season 3. And Rob is absolutely right. They promoted it. They didn't say it, but they promoted it as such. They implied it. I was under the impression this was delayed on purpose after the recent campfire for players to gear and level up. Now we learn it isn't ready. Players are quickly running out of things to do in Diablo 4 with a lack of engaging endgame. Oz has been removed. AOZ, Abattoir of Zir, has been removed as well. Just killing Duriel Malphus all day for a chance at an uber unique isn't for many as the endgame. Some sort of challenging content would be great. Now, I applaud Rod because he's been very supportive of the Diablo game, but yet he speaks facts and experience. And I would say he's probably he's definitely in the top 3 players as far as logged hours for Diablo 4, I would guess. And for him to be making comments that really go parallel with what I've been saying. But that's not all. This storyline gets even better because right away after Rob's post on X, it looks like Pezradar reached out to Rob, because then Rob did another post immediately after his first post, and it stated the following: just learned from Pezradar the delay isn't long, so hopefully the Gauntlet is still releasing this month in February. We will have a few extra days to get ready and prepare. However, this will be awfully close to the release of Last Epoch now. Which will you play? Ding, ding, ding. The truth finally comes out with this post from Rob. And the guessing, all gone. we now know if you take these posts and you put two and two together, you realize that Activision Blizzard and their release of Leaderboards in Season 3 in Diablo 4 has been delayed because they want players to make a decision. And that decision is, do you want to play Diablo 4 Season 3? Or do you want to play Last Epoch? They have cornered players and are going to have to make a decision. These players are going to have to make a decision. Do I play Diablo 4 Season 3 Leaderboards? Or do I play Last Epoch? And you know what? The light bulb for me kind of went on. Now I get it. They're forcing players to make a decision. See, if they would have stuck with their original release date of February 13th, it would have been longer than a week before Last Epoch was going to drop 1.0 on the 21st. See, we know the leaderboards are weekly gauntlet resets. So every week there's a 1 week period where you're going to be able to play the leaderboard, play the gauntlet, do it over and over and over, try to get the best score, right? That's how they advertised it. And we know it's 1 week. So a February 13th leaderboard, the first week would end on February 20th, a day before Last Epoch. And, God forbid, maybe the leaderboards wouldn't get that much attention, or people play it and they get bored of it. These are all outcomes that could potentially happen. And I tried leaderboards, it didn't like it, boom, Last Epoch's tomorrow, I'm going to play Last Epoch. Therefore, people leaving Diablo 4 to go play Last Epoch only a week into the leaderboards. Now, that's something that I'm sure the Diablo 4 dev team are worried about. So what should they do? Well, if they move the date, which they are, by a couple of days, now instead of launching on the 13th, if they're launching on the 15th or launching on the 16th, now the first week of the gauntlet doesn't end the day before Last Epoch 1.0. It lands the first day of Last Epoch 1.0, or the second day, or the third day. Therefore, having and forcing players to make a decision to play one or the other. Now, some may call this smart, some may call this ruthless, but I like to look at it from a different angle, because that's the easy way of looking at it. What I see is, and I see this because I'm a content creator myself, and I know the struggles and I know the decisions as a content creator sometimes you have to make. For example, sometimes you have to play a game that you don't really want to be playing because the content you're making is about that game, and you feel a real obligation to your community that watch and support your content. So you play that game longer, or you play it because you feel a need that you have to. And why do I bring this up? I bring this up because there's a lot of major D4 content creators who now will be faced with the decision, do I do the leaderboards or do I play Last Epoch 1.1? Now, I know of 2 or 3 big ones that have already stated they're Diablo 4 content creators, but they've already stated they're going to play and are looking forward to Last Epoch 1.0. This is why I've said in the past, and will continue to say, Last Epoch 1.0 is going to be a major spike in players trying it out. Like I said in another video, 0.9 Last Epoch got over 40,000 players on the release date to play the game. and it had anywhere near the attention and the hype 1.0 has. So you can only imagine what the numbers are going to be for 1.0. Now, again, that's to try it. Whether or not they stick around and play the game long term, that only time will tell. But my point is, now these large D4 content creators, who some of them are not playing as much or at all, now are going to be, they're going to have to decide, do I play D4? Do I play Last Epoch 1.0? And this is where you can either say, what a brilliant move by Blizzard Activision, or what an awful move to put these content creators in this position. Because remember, these are large content creators with hundreds of thousands of followers who are now, they get influenced by them. So if these D4 content creators, which I believe this is what's going to happen, they are going to play the leaderboard. They are. They're D4 content creators. They're going to feel they're going to feel a lot of pressure to try the leaderboards. So they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to stream it. And now you have people watching the leaderboards instead of watching Last Epoch 1.0. Now, that's not the end all to end all, right? Like, that's streamers doesn't represent the whole player base in a game. I know that. But my point is, I can't believe that the reason why Activision Blizzard made this decision, even though they knew they were going to get major backlash, is because they wanted to screw Last Epoch 1.0 release date and align their leaderboard release so that it would impact players being able to play it on release date. That right there says a lot about what is going on with this organization. And I have to say, if I was the new leader, I would be checking a lot of people right now and saying, what is going on? Now, I don't have a problem with the fact, well, actually, I do have a problem with them doing this because they already had a date and they purposely moved it for that reason. And for that, I think that is a slimy move, knowing that you had already communicated it, but you still changed it. It's one thing if things are late. It's one thing if they're not ready. That's another discussion. But the fact that they had communicated it and still made the change, because apparently, according to Rob's post, it's still coming out in February, but it's going to be closer to the release of Last Epoch now. Well, the person that thinks, operates like the glass is half full. No, that's just a coincidence. The real delay is because they did want to polish things up. It doesn't have anything to do with Last Epoch. It's just a coincidence that's Last Epoch. That storyline is just a coincidence. The real issue is they're just polishing it up. They wanted to take an extra couple of days to fix things. So, what do you believe? Either way, this is really bad. I don't care what the truth is, because the bottom line is this should have never been put out in the public to begin with. Okay? Rod shouldn't have said what he said if they weren't sure of the date. And then we wouldn't be talking about this. And really, if they would have chosen February 16th, February 17th, February 18th as the release date for the leaderboards, then yeah, we'd still be talking about, wow, that's pretty close to Last Epoch. But not in this light, this shady light. And again, my heart goes out to the huge D4 content creators that are going to feel obligated to play the leaderboards when it gets released, and that they're going to potentially miss a very new, exciting drop in a game that's getting a lot of hype right now. That is going to be very interesting to see. I personally will be watching those content creators to see what they do, because it'll really show the kind of influence Activision Blizzard has with their content creators that they have in their program and are very close with. It'll show the strength of that relationship. And also, I say that because I believe it is strong, of an influence. And for that reason, a lot of D4 content creators are going to be very upset internally that they are going to potentially miss the release date of 1.0 and Last Epoch. That's going to be very interesting to see. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you care? Really, at the end of the day, all you're concerned about is then what the hell is the new date? I want to play leaderboards. I want to hear from the people, and I know you're out there. It's a small minority, but I get them in my comments. I don't know what you're talking about, Sammy. I'm loving the game. I'm loving Season 3. It's not as bad as you say it is, blah, blah, that kind of thing. Want to hear from you guys, too. What do you think? Are you okay with it being released a couple of days? Rob implies it's going to be a couple of days, and I'm sure he's implying that because that's what Pez Radar told them. But what do you think? And for those of you that are on the sidelines and are never going to play Diablo 4, what do you think? And for those of you that are on the sidelines and just not going to come back until they fix the big ticket items in the game, like myself, what do you guys think? I want to hear from everybody. Let me know your thoughts. Again, another major event in Diablo 4 that has the bubble, the anticipation, the hype has been burst again through the lack of managing when to deliver news and how to deliver news. Again, unfortunately, this not coming from the communication director, this misinformation coming from the GM of the game. Unbelievable. Like I said, not even a Hollywood script writer could write such a drama plot. Unbelievable how mismanaged this game is. Unbelievable. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I'm going to keep you guys up to date with all the latest and greatest for D4. So if you could find it in your heart to like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.